Hello, hello. Oh, look, I'm still at a
Hey.
Friday. I feel like is it just a Friday? I know I forgot something. We need a logo, and voila, we did it.
It was
Rachel's
actually me. I
back.
did it with my mind. Hi, I'm back.
Rachel, it is so good to have you back. I feel like it's been a year.
It's good to be back. Yeah, it's been a couple months. We moved my desk, got my space set up for the most part. You don't really think about like how hard it is to get things to a place to where you can work with them.
Mm,
Because I was like, oh, I'm in this new space. I'm gonna rearrange everything. And I have like these drawer units on my desk. And I was like, well, I'm gonna put those somewhere else. And I'm gonna put all the bead boxes on my desk.
okay. From the past bead boxes?
No, no, no,
No,
no.
no, your
Like
own bead boxes.
my
Your
bead
containers.
boxes, like my
Yeah.
box is full of beads. And I actually did have the bead boxes on my desk like the past 3 months until I moved them earlier. But yeah, I was like, this is gonna be great. All of my beads will be on my desk. It was awful. So I had to rearrange everything. I've rearranged everything like 3 times, and I think
Yeah.
I'm hopefully finally I'm looking good-ish
How
spot.
about
I'm gonna get a thingy to go behind me eventually.
oh smart. Then you can at least like have like your own space
Yeah, so
also.
I could be like fancy like Danielle.
Oh, I love Danielle's background
I
too.
know.
Hers is all beads. It's amazing.
Oh, I was gonna get this one with like little shelves, and I know Judy made these like pretty prints with like crystals on them. So
Ooh,
I was like, I could put those, and then I could put my rocks. I put them here just for
I love
fanciness.
them. I was just admiring them. I love your
They're agate
duo.
bookends. Oliver knocked one on my head once. Yeah. I used to have them above my bed, and he was like what, right onto my head. Um,
Friggin' yikes.
yeah,
Um,
we're all still here.
Sarah, please be safe. I hope it was a false alarm for your carbon monoxide. Um, Rachel,
Yes.
have you been able to use the drawers that we lugged across New
Oh
York?
yeah. I did. So I have one under my desk that I put all my tools in. I'm getting rid of my tool bin because
Nice.
it was so big. So I have one under my desk, and we actually shoved the other one in the pantry, and I put all the normal tools in there.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
so
perfect. So Rachel took them. I had these two like IKEA Alex drawer units in my storage unit that I cleared out like what last month or something.
mhm.
Um, and Rachel very kindly took them off my hands, and we drove
I
them.
very kindly took them off your hands. Yes, absolutely.
And we drove them from Brooklyn all the way into Manhattan, then into Queens, and up to her apartment. And now
And
they
not
live
just
in Rachel.
into Manhattan, we drove them all the way up into like Harlem, into the Bronx too, and then to Queens because we had to go pick up some mail, remember?
Right,
We
they went
drove
into
with them
four
for like
boroughs.
2 hours. It was a lot.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so today in today's class, we are making what Rachel is calling the infinite tide bracelet, which I think is a great name for these, for this
So
bracelet design. So I'll go ahead and add that. There we go.
I was on watching one of Sarah's lives with you a couple weeks ago when she made her, I think it was with you. It might have been with someone else when she made her infinity link. And that made me think of our very first live when I made an infinity link. And I was like, okay, I'll make a necklace with these. And so I do a necklace where it's like one link and then a bead. And Sam was like, that's going to take forever. So we make some earrings.
Well, or
And,
even if it doesn't,
and
it's like a repetitive thing. So
it's very
I
repetitive.
was like,
Yeah.
Rachel, I bet with your creative oomph
Yeah.
that you would like that can go even further. And like I
Yeah.
would have never
So
thought
then I was just
doing that.
like, okay, I'm going to do something else with it. So I came up with this bracelet. And the reason I called it an infinite tide bracelet is number one, obviously the links, the infinity links,
Mhm.
and then also because the beads I used here are from your July bead box, which the theme was coastal bound and like the
Yeah.
coast, there's the tide. So I thought that was fun.
Oh,
So I don't know if you can hear that. We have
no.
this automatic laser pointer that comes on like every 15 minutes every hour, and I forgot it was plugged in, and all of a sudden I just hear boom, and it's Marauder jumping into the wall. So if you hear a loud boom, that's what it is.
It's just your cat.
Yeah, it's just the cat.
We're here for the pets. I was just with Sarah. And
Yeah,
we got her dogs. We have your cats. This is the life of a real beater.
yeah, in a 1 bedroom. But so anyway, we're gonna make the bracelet, and then we're also gonna do this pair of earrings.
Ooh, I haven't seen these. Ooh, they're cute.
So there's I'm sure you can rearrange things and even make them, you could make them longer, you could, so we're gonna do that.
Sweet.
And I'm excited. And I prepped some of the links so you don't have to watch me do it forever. But we're gonna start by making the links. This bracelet is probably about, I want to say, oh, I hung on my rulers up, I forgot. So now I'll never lose them, quote unquote. Maybe.
Maybe I
Probably
should do
still
that.
will lose them because
I
there's
lose my
some missing.
scissors
I don't know where they are.
constantly.
So this bracelet ended up being, it's like a 7 3/4 inches long, but because of these are 8 millimeters, right? The druks.
Yeah.
Um, because of the roundness, I'm sure anybody who makes bracelets knows like that kind of cuts down on the size a little bit of the bracelet. So I think my wrist is probably around 7.5 to 7.25 inches. So you might want to make it longer if you might want to add more links if your wrist is bigger or smaller, whatever. You get the deal. So I feel like I'm the person who makes the bracelets the least out of anyone. I didn't even really start making a lot of bracelets until like last year. So
That could
anyway,
almost be like a 3 strand if you like alternated where the infinity leaks were laying. Like if you have the center one, like lay those next to each other and then just move one down one link so that one of them is like alternating one lower. Anyway, let me see if I, if I ever have time.
oh, like this.
Yeah, and then it could be like a
Oh, that could be cool. Yeah, so
multi-strand.
these links I made are actually, I'm sure you can probably see they're actually bigger than the ones I have here because I was trying out a different pair of round nose pliers. So you'll get different sizes and different roundness depending on what pliers you're using. Because I was using my yellow ones for a while, and they're a very, very cheap pair of pliers, but they worked great, I thought. But then I was just curious about, because this is a little bit of a higher quality pair, I was curious about how they would look made with those. So I made a bunch with those. So we're gonna go with this pair today. But all that is to say that if you feel like your links are not coming out the way you want them to come out, consider switching round nose pliers.
What about bail making pliers?
I guess you could use those. No, wait. Yeah. I'm trying to think of how I make these. I You can try, but I can't wrap my head around that right now because the way I make them, like I feel like I alternate sides, and it's important that both sides be kind of the same, and the bail
Right.
making would trip me up. But if, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure you can figure it.
you'd have to
Y'all are
switch
a
the
crafty
wire.
bunch, and I'm new to the bail making plier world, so I was using my teeny tiny these for like 15 years. So
I do know.
I was using those earlier actually because lately I've been trying to use these, and I'm noticing that my loops are not as perfect as they used to be, and it's because I've been using these for so long. I'm not used to the bigger ones. So anyway, we're gonna start with 18 gauge wire. This is sterling silver that I've oxidized, but it's dead soft. I know we have a lot of new members from Sarah's classes, so the German style wire would work too. It's completely up to you. I just generally just use dead soft wire. So we're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 if you want the same length of a bracelet as I have, and then you need 2 additional ones if you're making earrings. 8, 9. So I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. So we need to make 4. So what I've done is I've cut the wire with my flush cutters to where it's the flat part. So the top of the wire is flat. And then I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers and I'm going to poke the wire just so that it's to the top of the oh, there's a real word for this, of the, what are these called, like noses? So it doesn't go up a super lot, but it's basically level with the top of the round part of your pliers.
Where it's flush there. Okay.
And then you're going to come either back around or over it, whatever is more comfortable for you, and you're going to touch the wire to it. So you've got a loop. You can come in here and you can fix it if you want so that it's touching better. And then you're going to sandwich it right up flat against it. So there's no space in between your loop that you just made and the, I gotta learn the real word. What's the word for the mouth part of the pliers, guys? Come on.
Like the teeth, like what? So like the teeth or something?
Yeah, but there's no teeth on these. They're round. The beak. This is the beak. The whole thing is a beak. Oh.
I don't know.
The noses.
Hey, we can
so
call what you want.
We'll make a new word. The nodules of the pliers.
The beaks. I like the beaks. There we go.
Yeah. So I came under and around so that the link, basically, if I wanted to connect them, if I cut it right here, it would look like it was almost connecting to the starting point. So I'm going to take it off my pliers. And then I'm going to come in with my, you can use your round nose for this, or you can use, hang on, I can hear myself. There we go. Or you can use, these are chain nose. They're like flat chain nose. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to hold them. And then I'm just going to twist around a couple times until I've covered up the starting point. And then come in with my flush cutters and cut and squish it. Let's see. Let's see. How big is which? The pliers or the loops?
It might be like an estimation of how like if they were to use the bail making pliers, like which millimeter that would be. But it's
let me see. I definitely had calipers around here at one point in time, and here they are. Let's see. It's like 7.5 is what I think. Yeah, like 7.5 millimeters.
For wire gauges, are you using 18 or 20 for the
This
link?
is 18.
So you're using 18 for the links, then we're going to use 20 to put the bracelet together?
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, so let's make some more. So I'm going to cut, again, with my flush cutters to make the top flat. My flush cutters are my favorite thing in the entire world. I went without them for so long. I didn't even know about them. And now I'm like, well, who would ever use regular wire cutters? Why?
Mine are missing right now. It's very sad. I only have normal
Your
nippers.
flush cutters?
I don't know where they went, but I've got some decent nippers.
You should just buy like 10 more pairs. And that way, when you inevitably use them on like 16 gauge wire and ruin them, you'll have another pair.
Right.
So I've made my loop, and I'm coming back under it and just getting right up close. And then I'm going to wrap back around. One thing you want to be careful of is I've gotten it before where I've accidentally hooked on some of the square base of my pliers, and then your loop ends up like really wacky.
Oh yeah, I remember when I've made some of these links, I definitely hit upon that.
I've done that with ear wires before too. I'm like, great. Well, now I've got to replicate this, which is never going to happen. All right, so I just wrap it around.
I'm experimenting with bail pliers right now, Rachel, and it does look like it's possible. You just have to like move. You just kind of like
move it a lot. You have to think about it.
You have to think a lot more than if you're just using round nose, but it is possible.
Debbie, I have not tried like a nice brand of the flush cutters. I only buy the really cheap ones because I'm afraid I'm too careless to have a nice pair. So I'm gonna be honest, I have bought them definitely from Amazon before. But all of the beading companies do sell flush cutters, and quite honestly, like as long as it cuts, that's all I'm really worried about. But depending on what kind of work you're doing, they don't always line up perfectly. It is really nice to get the ones with the really nice points, but those break so easy. I bet that's why the nice flush cutters are better, but I'm scared I will break them, and then I'll be like, well, those were $1 billion. But this pair I'm using is actually Beadalon, and I like them. They work well for me. But if you're doing a lot of really tiny wraps, the ones with more points on the ends would be good. Okay, I lost, or I didn't. This is dead soft wire, and it's totally personal preference. You can use German style wire if you want. I have never used it before, but from my understanding, it's not like super hard. It's just a little bit harder than dead soft, right, Sam?
Yeah, that's my understanding. I was just looking at it. I want to try it out. I'm very curious.
Because this is 18 gauge, it's gonna be, even though this is dead soft, it's still pretty hard because it's so thick. So I wouldn't use like super hard 18 gauge for this. I feel like that would be really difficult. It's a lot of bending for the harder you get, the harder it's going to be to do this wrapping part right here.
Would you walk us through once more of these? Because I just tried to do it without thinking, and I didn't do it right.
That's why I made 5 and not all 9, so that we can make 4 together.
Oh, awesome.
So I've got my wire with the flat edge, and I'm just doing it so that it's up level with the tops of my pliers, but not the
square part.
Not the square part, the like tops of the pliers. And then I'm just gonna come around until I touch that. Take the pliers out. Oh, that's the most perfect one I've done today. And then I just kind of inch it a little bit closer just so that it'll be stay together a little better later on. It's not really like the end of the world. We're not putting anything tiny on here, but I do like it to look pretty good. And then I'm putting that in between so that the P shape is going away from me, and that's just because I'm pulling the wire towards me when I go around. Around. And there's our infinity sign. See if you. And then I'm coming back in with my chain nose pliers, and I'm just gonna wrap this around. And the amount of times you wrap it around is honestly up to you. Whatever feels like it's good in there. All right, so I've got it cut, and then also very important, you want to make sure you tuck it down in there. And this is another reason why I like the flush cutters, because with this kind of thing, it's good to have the edge flat. Otherwise, you'd have to like try and like hide it up in there a little bit more so it wouldn't catch on anything.
I've always really liked this link, Rachel, because it always felt very versatile. Because it's.
I've seen people do some amazing things with this. And you know, I have I have the necklace I had made with this somewhere. I should have pulled it out, and I made a note to myself in my brain earlier to pull it out, and I definitely didn't. But so we're gonna make one more of those in just a second. You'd think it'd be easy for me to find, but There we go.
Gosh, Deb's autocorrect made it say, instead of Sam's bead shop, made it say Samantha's bead shop. And
All right.
I'm here for it. Hello,
That works. I'll be
Bead
Samantha
Shop.
today.
You
What
what?
if my name was? I said I'll be Samantha today. What if my name was Samantha? That'd be crazy.
Well, I think it's already crazy enough that your name is my sister's name.
I knew this couple, and their names are Paul and Paula, and they like share an email address, and it is the most confusing thing in the entire world. And I'm like, you guys did this on purpose. They both use the same email address. Like, why? Anyway, so this is what I was talking about initially when I was like, we'll make a necklace. But so you can turn the links any way. I had also made a pair of earrings kind of as a tester where I turned them into bows, and that was really cute for like the holidays.
Oh, I love that. And then they could also be like extender chains for a necklace that has a hook.
Yeah, I actually use them on the necklace I'm wearing right now. I used one of them as a loop for the toggle I made. So.
Oh, that's so pretty. I love those like smaller elements in wire work that can like just make a piece just feel so special. Also, really love that necklace, by the way.
Thank you. And I did see a question: what size? How much wire do I start with? So I'm not really a wire measurer. I like to get a big piece of wire because I think it keeps me from wasting more wire. You know, you always have like the little pieces at the end that isn't enough. So I usually end up starting with probably about 12 inches. And that also gives me something to grip onto. I always wrap with my fingers instead of using the pliers to pull it. And I think it makes it a lot easier to do that with when I have a longer piece of wire. Like my hair is getting caught in the necklace.
Anna Marie says we talk like we're siblings. Really?
All right, so I'm gonna make one more loop and then we're gonna move on to the next part. So yeah, I would start with, I mean, if you're uncomfortable with a big piece of wire, I would give yourself like at least 6 inches. But if you're comfortable with a bigger piece, like the 12 inches, you'll definitely waste less wire that way. I use a lot of silver, so I'm all about trying to just keep going with the same piece of wire. But I think that's also just the way I've always really worked, is just a long piece of wire. It's definitely harder now that I've got the camera in my face, though.
It doesn't help. Right.
Yeah, no, it's in the way.
You do it well.
So I've got the wire up in there, just flush to the top, and then wrap around till I'm touching. There we go. And then I've got the P facing away from me. Wrap it over. And like I said, you could totally grab this with your round nose if you wanted when you're wrapping. I prefer the flat nose. I think it gives me a better grip though. Or these are called chain nose.
I was just also trying it with my nylon jaw. Which
yeah, I forgot you said I never use those.
It's a great way to grab, like especially that when you're trying to hold something that still without nicking.
I think part of my sparkle grunge aesthetic is the little wire nicks.
Love that.
Yeah, I have given up a long time ago on being perfect. I like the imperfections. But yeah, the nylon jaws would probably be great. Mine are very old and very terrible. I was looking for them earlier. Oh, here they are. They're like kind of worn out. Anyway, so we're gonna move on to the next part because I've got 9 of my little babies here. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, 9. And we're gonna get our 20 gauge wire now. Catherine says she's watching on Facebook and YouTube. I can't even imagine. 2 of me? Oh my goodness.
Oh, you would love that.
I would get so much done. It would be the best. My boyfriend would probably leave. Um,
2 Rachels, 1 Samay.
he'd be like, bye. I told him, I was like, look, you can't be in here for the class. Last time you talked, and he was like, what do you mean I talk? I'm like, you talk to the cat. You can't be in here. Oliver's just gonna want to play if you're here. So yeah, I have a cat that plays fetch. I don't know where he went.
With 1 sparkle. Oh my god.
You good?
I'm hiding.
Okay.
I did what my mama told me never to do. I talk with my mouth full.
Yeah, my mom told me that too. It didn't work. Anyway, so this is 20 gauge wire. And Deb, yes, you can watch it later. It'll be available, saved both on the Sam's Bead Shop Facebook page and YouTube channel. So we're just gonna make a regular loop, just a single loop. I also pre-looped some of my beads. So these ones I'm using today because in my example, I used the druks from Sam's Bead Box, and I decided to switch it up for the class. So these are the 8mm cathedral cut in, what's the name of this? Like blue bronze or something?
It's a peasant. I mean, it reminds me of like a Montana or something like that. I don't remember what I called them, but I love those.
They're so pretty. So I'm just slipping it on, and we're just gonna make another loop, just as if you would use an eye pin. But I don't like to use eye pins. Yeah, there's nothing wrong if you like to use them. I find that if I'm using an eye pin, there's no way my loop will ever look as good. And it just does, it looks so inconsistent when I try to use them. So I'll make my own. Hi, Judy. All right, so we're literally just looping these. So we're gonna need enough to go in between the 7 of these. And that number was, I think it was 16. No, it wasn't 16 of them. It was 14 of them is what I need. Oh, 7 times 2. Duh. All right. This is like kind of like grungy to me. I like it a lot.
Rachel, one of my favorite things about running a bead shop is that most of it is just math. Like making sets, pricing things out, it's all weighing things, it's all math. And I love math growing up.
I love math, and I never use it anymore, ever. I love it so much. That was like the only class I took AP because it was the only class I felt like doing AP work in.
Good for you. I never went that far in math. I went to music school.
Well, I went to art school, so clearly I didn't like it that much.
Rachel says, in your face.
Anyway.
Sharon, Rachel and I do not have the same mother.
No, Sam has a sister that is also named Rachel, though, but it is not me. So I'm literally just making loops with these just until I have enough to do my bracelet. I should lay out the other one. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I gotta go check if I have more of those cathedrals because I forgot how much I love those.
They're so pretty. I have them in like 5 colors actually. And I don't even work that much in glass. But these are so gorgeous. I made a mala using a ton of them. I love this color too. It's like with the blue with like the bronzy. It's so pretty. So I think this is, yeah. Oh, there we go. That's why.
Of course, I'm sold out of like that color. It's not shocking it's that pretty. So
well, the green ones are really pretty too. Do you have those?
I have a lot of
Well,
colors. So I just posted a link to.
the green ones I love too, but I just really wanted to use the blue ones today. And I also have the pink ones and the black ones and the like burnt orangey colors, really pretty.
I'm just obsessed with all the facets. I need all of those facets in my life.
They're so pretty. I think I love the, I mean, I love them.
Oh, I also the combination of the blue with the oxidized sterling silver is really, really.
I know, it's making me think. We're watching The Witcher right now. No spoilers because I haven't seen any of it. We're on like episode 3, and it's giving me very The Witcher vibes right now. But I feel like that's just because we're watching it.
See, I haven't seen it, so I don't even know what you're talking about. So I truly can't spoil anything for you. But no one spoiled it for Rachel.
It's been really good, but it's like there's a lot of characters. I don't do well with a lot of characters up front. It takes me a long time to catch on.
I'm reading
like
a book.
Very, very long.
Yeah, I'm reading a book right now that has about a dozen characters, and sometimes I start a chapter. I'm like, I truly have no idea who you are. Like, can I have a reminder, some sort of indication?
It's like, can you include a spreadsheet with your novel, please? Okay, so this is the last one. And then we're going to move on to our connector beads. So I'm going to be using the rice beads again from the bead box. But you can use like any kind of tube type bead. You could even put seed beads on the sterling silver. The whole point is that with the rounded beads like this, beads this wide, it's hard to get them to connect at this point because I'm wanting them to be able to be looped together, to come together so that we can taper down the bracelet. And then these, if I tried to do that, it's just way too wide an angle. So whatever beads you feel like will work with that, like I said, you could even like string some seed beads on your wire and it would just be great. So let me just finish this final loop, and then I like to do all my loops first and then construct things. I don't know if anybody else works like that. I was filming myself earlier making the necklace I'm wearing actually. And I was like, would it be more interesting if I made a loop and then connected it? Because I just like to pile everything up and just then go back and loop everything and then connect it all.
Which feels so streamlined and like satisfying.
I would like to think that Henry Ford would be very proud of me.
Yes, get that production line going.
Yes.
But just Rachel, the Rachel production line. No one else get in the way. Everyone out of the way. Thank you.
Let's see. I feel like it's not as bright as I would love it to be. Okay, this is not helping. One day my lighting will be amazing. I have so many lights on right now too. I have like a billion. I have seriously like 6 lights on me.
I just don't even have a response at this point. Rachel and I have been, lighting is just the hardest thing.
I'm not even kidding. I have 3. I literally bought a light for above my desk that is just light bulbs. 3 light bulbs above me. 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 light bulbs around me right now. It's a little warm. Anyway, so I'm going to need 4 of these little rice beads. Yeah, I also have the AC over here. If it gets too hot, I could turn it on, but probably not during the class. So I'm just going to go ahead and loop these. It's a lot of the single loops. So you'll be very good at them by the end of this project. I think the last project I taught was also a lot of single loops. I love to use the single loops because it eliminates the need for jump rings. I almost never use jump rings. There's not that there's anything wrong with using them. A lot of the times it extends the look of the piece more than I want it to. I think sometimes it can draw attention to them. So I just try to do as much as I can with loops. And if I can't do it with a loop, sometimes I'll just make like a little wrapped link that's like a messy wrapped link.
Oh.
And link in between there.
What do you... Wait, I already forgot my question. Do you remember what our last project was together? You're saying a lot of loops. Now I'm trying to remember what it was.
I really think it was a lot of loops. I'm trying to, yeah, but what was it?
Maybe someone will remember because I don't remember. Anywho.
I'm sure it's around here somewhere. Oh, it was the double drill.
Ooh, yes, the double drill class. Those were fun projects.
I love seeing what everyone is making with those. Everyone did such a good job. Okay. I don't like this race. I want a different one. Where did it go?
So I want to know, what do people think of our Friday night class? So far, we actually have more people than usually watch on Saturday. So
that's exciting.
That's a good sign, at least, that like a lot of people are available on Friday nights and maybe like more relaxed after like now that the week is done.
It was always so interesting to me when I was a server. Like, I think it was Saturday nights were busier than Friday nights. And to me, I always thought Friday night was like the everybody going out night, but I guess it's the everybody chilling night.
Yeah.
And I just never thought it was.
Oh yeah, I don't almost ever go out on Friday nights. I don't go out at all.
No, I just grew up thinking that everyone
I didn't
goes
go
out
anywhere
on
for
Friday.
2 years.
True. So true.
We talking about my social life? What?
I don't have one of those. Samay is booking a bunch of concerts, and he's like, "Do you want to go to this concert?" It's the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. I don't know if you would have heard of them, but
No.
they had like a hit back when I was in like middle school. But they're like a rock band. Anyway, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to leave the apartment. I was like, I will go see it if it is after August. And he just
it's only going to get hotter in New York in August.
That's why I said after August.
No, you're right. It's going to cool down. I'm lying.
I have a friend's wedding in August, and I'm like not even sure. I'm like, should I get a maxi dress? What should I get? Should I get a ball gown? Would she be mad?
All of the above.
Because like I haven't been anywhere. Might as well get a ball gown. So really quickly while I'm doing this, a couple of people have asked about the wire. So this wire that I'm using, number one, is dead soft, and then it is oxidized sterling silver. So I actually oxidize it myself with a product called liver of sulfur. And you basically, it smells like egg farts. And
how does it work? Because I want to know your process.
Yeah, so you should probably follow the directions that are on the back of the container, but I just add it to some like really hot water, add my wire in or whatever, and then it should pretty much turn colors about immediately. The longer you leave it in, the darker it gets. At some point, it's not going to get any darker, and then you're supposed to neutralize it, I guess, to keep it from getting darker. But with silver, I mean, with everything, I never neutralize it.
What neutralizes in another solution?
So you just dip it into a solution of water and baking soda.
Okay.
But I don't do that. I think it would probably be, it doesn't have any effect on sterling, but I think with copper, so I find a lot of the time, sometimes I have more problems with the oxidation coming off of my fingers with the copper, and I think neutralizing it probably is the answer to that. But with silver, I never have problems with it. So,
and then you rinse it off, and then it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I have so many of these like large spools of non-oxidized copper wire, but I always reach for the one that's pre-oxidized.
You could probably drop that whole spool into the solution and then just rinse it off.
The whole spool, but it's so tight. I wonder if I would have to.
In my tiny view, it doesn't look that. It looks like there's just a little bit left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like imagine.
But yeah, so I usually like wind it around my hand and like stick it in a dish. I'm pretty sure it is. I think it is food safe because you can also use literally just like regular hard boiled egg water, I think, and do it.
Really?
I feel like I read that somewhere. I don't like hard-boiled eggs, so I've never tried that.
We have not fact checked this, folks.
No, I've not, but you can Google it. And yeah, but I still would probably use something that's not gonna have food in it. I like to use like baby food jars. You can also like shake it then, or like just a bigger jar. You could use like a canning jar for it.
Yeah.
I just kind of keep one to the side, but it comes in several different. I thought I had it in here. Oh, I do. I like the ones with the cap that you can pop open like a shampoo bottle and squeeze it out. But you can also get it to where you can like scoop some out. But then you gotta have something to scoop it with, and it's just like, but yeah, hot water is the key. My Safari just crashed on my phone.
Oh
so
no!
That's fun.
Back Rachel. Rachel too. All right, well, Rachel's working on that. I want to know what folks are up to right now, because we get such a mix of people like cleaning, cooking, going on a walk. I don't know. People do a whole bunch of beading during these classes. So what are you up to? Or just give us a wave in the comments. I'm so happy that it's Friday evening. I feel like more relaxed now because it's a Friday evening, and then we're done. And then that's all the bead shop events have now happened during the week, which for me, I appreciate, because I can go make plans with my family tomorrow, and that'll be great.
That's true. Fridays, Saturdays are my off days. So like when we were doing the classes on Saturdays, I would have to go to bed like right after.
Right.
So I think I fixed it. I don't know what happened before, but I think I fixed it. So if you can bring
it's back.
There we go. Okay, now we can connect everything. So I've got these pieces I'm going to set to the side because we're going to use them for the earrings. So we can just start connecting everything. I mean, it's going to be a pretty basic process. One thing I like about having my tools from like all different companies is that the grips on all of them are completely different colors. So it helps.
And you're not being sarcastic, are you? You actually like?
No, I'm like
colors. Got it.
Yeah, so then it's easier for me to figure out what I'm reaching for. Because I just pile my tools in a pile next to me, even though I have like a place to put them. So I'm just linking the my rounds or whatever you use, my cathedral beads, onto each side of the little infinity link. And then I'm going to go ahead and open that again. So yeah, you'll see this like eliminates the need for jump rings on this product.
I wonder if my grandma likes, I know I've only seen her in bright silver. I wonder what she would think of like a dark silver tone. Because I love that bracelet. Or it's not even a bracelet yet.
Yeah. Have different opinions about it, I feel like. But the reason I like it is not just the color. It's because I'm always worried that because I sell jewelry, I'm always worried that, someone's going to take it home, and we all know what you're supposed to do with jewelry. We know how you're supposed to store it, how you're not supposed to leave it in the bathroom. But I mean, things happen. At the end of the long day, I'm going to put my jewelry wherever I put it. Some people are more organized. I'm not that type of person. So I just really wanted it to be where no matter what they did with it, the wire shouldn't change color. I mean, obviously, if they left it in the bathroom for like a year, it might be kind of green with oxidation, but it's not going to blacken like a lot of silver does. And you can coat them or whatever, but I just want it to be to where it'll stand kind of the test of time.
That makes sense.
That's me. I don't know. Some people like to polish things. I don't understand how you would ever be able to polish every single loop. That would take forever.
Well, like, certain pieces could be dipped in a solution, like depending on what beads are on it. You could potentially.
Yeah, this totally could be with the glass beads, but if you made something with pearls, or if you made it with, I don't know. It depends on the stones. Like opals, I don't think you're supposed to. They don't stand up well to a lot of different things.
And
So
you
it
can
just
also
kind of
think about
depends.
care instructions with your talk about that with your customers, like keep your item, like especially a nice silver item, bagged, so to just at least reduce its exposure to elements. And you could
Oh
also
yeah,
give them
totally.
or recommend tarnish strips, like
If
tarnish
I sell
paper.
something that's bright silver, I do include a tarnish strip in a little bag. But personally, I like to hang everything up so I can see it, and it does get tarnished. So it would just be easier for me if I bought it pre-tarnished. Um, I don't know. I like to embrace the darkness.
It also fits your aesthetic of your jewelry making, so it works.
hmm Which is not to say that I don't love some shiny silver pieces. I totally do. But they actually have a product called Argentium silver that's not supposed to tarnish. Um, but I prefer to use sterling just because it's what people are familiar with. Um, and there's more products and more variation in it readily available. So like wire shapes or like wire sizes, also like bezel wire if you solder is just more readily available in sterling. Um, but I dropped it. Come on. So yeah, I'm just linking everything together. Come on. Come on, guys. This is the trickiest part of the entire thing, is linking it all on there. Oh, I missed all these comments.
I'm curious, yeah, this being the trickier part with all the different loops and two strands going on, if you have any approach to this part in particular, or an order you're doing them in.
No, I'm just kind of linking them on. My one thing that I probably should have said while I was looping is that I like to make sure that my loops are going in the same direction. For some projects, you can it's better to have your loops go one way and then a different way, but for this project, it's important to have them going in the same direction because you can see that we're basically the infinity links are going in one direction and you want the other ones going the other direction so that everything lines up nicely and it flows nicely when you hold it. That's the reason why this doesn't get like all twisted and stuff when I do that, is because the links are all pretty uniform
Yeah, that
in the
makes a lot
way
of
that
sense.
they're going.
And if you didn't do that, you could easily just go in.
Oh
and
yeah, if you didn't do
fix
that,
it.
you can literally just hold on to this with one plier and then hold on to this with the other plier and then just twist.
And voila,
And yeah,
you'll be good to go.
I just twisted it back so that it would still stay the same. But yeah, I do that all the time, especially when I'm making earrings and I haven't thought about it beforehand. Because the way ear wires hang. Where are we in the comments, Sam?
Yeah, I'm just taking a look. We have one request to show the Infinity Link, which I think we'll have maybe a couple minutes once you're done with the bracelet. We're happy to. We can totally show it again. I can't speak for Rachel. She's happy to. But
we'll do the
I'm sure
earrings too, and I'll show it again.
Yeah, and then you can also always catch the replay of this once we're done, and when Rachel shows how the Infinity Link comes together.
Oops, I twisted it. There we go. And you can pretty much tell if how you're linking these is working because it's either going to be tangled or not tangled. And we're going for not tangled on this project.
I've heard mixed things about Argentinium wire. Anna Marie just commented, Argentinium does tarnish very slowly, but because it's alloyed with germanium, instead of copper, it changes to more yellow than black, which I almost think, like, wouldn't like that. I don't
No, that
like
sounds
yellow.
terrible.
And I've heard about that. I've seen that discussed in groups before about Argentinium turning yellow, and I'm like, I don't want that.
I thought I had read that it was if you expose it to sterling, it does tarnish faster. I don't know. I looked at it briefly, but then I just made the decision that I really just wanted to stick with sterling. It's been around so long and people are just familiar with it. And like I said, things are more readily available in it.
Yeah, I also think like in terms of like from a business point of view of owning a jewelry business, like people get sterling, people know it. So like when you describe your pieces, people will know what you're talking about and understand the value that you're adding to your pieces by using nice materials like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think people could also see that about Argentium, or however you say it. But it's more explaining. It's less of something that you can take at face value. And I think some people would feel really good about that, and other people would be like, I don't know about this.
And of course, this project would also totally work with an artistic wire, like a silver plate over.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I said, the wires I use are dead soft too, so the artistic wire would be great. You could even use like the colored artistic wire.
100%. And of course you could use copper like Rachel did in the example piece.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely you don't have to use sterling for this piece. It's just what Rachel likes to use it for, because it fits.
Oh yeah, I just really wanted to use it with these cathedral beads, honestly.
Yeah, totally.
I was like, oh, it's the perfect dark. What was I gonna say? Oh, the coated copper wires or whatever. I don't always recommend them for projects, especially when I'm doing hammering. But if you're not hammering, they're great for projects. If you're hammering, depending on what the wire is, sometimes the coating does come off.
Wanda says, I only make jewelry for myself and I'm a cheap date. Yeah, in which case you're probably your easiest client and you could just use whatever materials you like.
Yeah.
Not have to worry about it. You can always make a new one if you want to. It's a lot more chill if you're just wearing the piece.
Okay.
I think people have a lot of anxiety in general, Rachel, just around like selling jewelry and like worrying. I mean, that what you're describing is like a very common thing that people talk about in the group, in Facebook Bead groups, just because like people are worried about like their pieces lasting in the way that they want them to.
Yeah.
And especially as a new beater, it can be very scary. Especially with metals are kind of the trickiest part because you can't control that any metal will naturally tarnish. It's just
no matter what you do to it, no matter how much you spray it with or whatever, it will naturally tarnish.
And that's just kind of, and it's so some that often will scare a new beater, like oh wow, I really shouldn't use base metals because they'll tarnish quickly. Like yes, they could tarnish, but pretty much anything could tarnish. So
unless you're using like gold, which is just $1 billion per ounce.
So I don't have a perfect answer for like what to do exactly, because I mean I myself have not ever had a full-time jewelry business, but just understand that it's like a normal feeling and that don't freak out too much over, like just make beautiful things and then you will start to figure out what helps, like the tarnish strips and care instructions and whatnot. Would you have any thoughts on that?
I think that anyone who owns jewelry is hopefully understanding of the fact that things do tarnish. I mean, even cheap stuff you get from the store is going to tarnish. The coating's going to wear off. So, I mean, anyone who's paying artistic prices really knows that things change.
Right.
But again, I mean, you can direct people to tarnish class or whatever, but anybody who owns any kind of jewelry should know that things are going to change. And if they expect your jewelry to not tarnish, then they just must think you're like Superman or something.
It's not going to happen. But
no.
The things you can control are things like your gemstones. Like maybe we should rephrase this. Like the things that you can control, like a glass is not going to change color on you. I've never seen a glass.
Just using the most quality that you can, and just being like confident in it. If someone's asking you about tarnishing, you can say, well, that's a natural process of metals being exposed to the elements. If you want to try to avoid that, the best things you can do are wear your piece constantly. You can keep it in a little baggie with the tarnish strip, or you can polish it up with a tarnishing cloth.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think of it also, is just in terms of setting expectations when you're selling a piece. Absolutely.
But like, also, I have a Pandora bracelet, and my mom has a Pandora bracelet. It's sterling silver. My mom's is like black at this point, and it was not that way when she got it.
Yeah.
So it's not an artisan problem. It's what happens to metals.
Right.
So I don't think you should be nervous about it. Like I said, the only reason I oxidize, I mean, not the only reason, but I'm a control freak. I just want it to be, I want to have as much control as possible of every situation in my entire life.
Personality type.
Yeah.
But in terms of back to the point of with the materials you can control, like using glass is going to be great, especially like Czech glass will last you really well. Some coatings in Czech or Chinese glass can wear, but generally I think we'll have a lot of good luck with Czech glass. With gemstones, if you're using a natural gemstone, like they've been in the earth for millions of years, they're going to stay that way. They're not going to change. So like a natural turquoise, nothing's going to happen to it as long as you're not putting it underwater constantly. Like as long as you're taking care of it, nothing's going to happen to it.
Yeah.
It's the same way with almost every stone. The only like caveat in this would be like a dyed stone, like a dyed agate, can eventually start to like fade in its color the more it's exposed to sunlight. So in which case you can also, when you're selling an agate bracelet that's been dyed, you can talk to your customer about, oh, it's just when you're storing this, make sure it's not being stored in direct sunlight, and that you'll get the longest time out of this piece. So I just think setting those sorts of expectations can be helpful, and just so your customer knows what the materials knows about the materials that they're receiving. Anyway, enough on that. Just thought that we've never talked about that before.
So I want to answer this one other question I've seen. She's asked it twice about where I hang my jewelry. I have one of those things that you hang in the back of the door with the mirror, and you open it and you can hang your jewelry in there, because I live in a very small apartment. So I find those to be helpful. Also, I have so much jewelry that hanging on the walls would just be ridiculous. So we're going to move on to the next part in the bracelet. So I've got my little rice that I've wrapped, and I'm just going to take them and hook them on just like we did with all the cathedral beads, because I do want to be able to get to the earrings. Just hooking on these little babies. And then after this, what?
No, go ahead.
We're going to grab our, and I'm going to do this to both sides. We're going to grab our cathedral beads that we have wrapped, open up the loop on there. And then I kind of like to dangle it like this, so I can just slip the loops onto that loop. So I make sure that I get them going in the right direction. And then close that up. And then you would put your clasp on the side. You could put I had another rice bead on either side to lengthen it and also add some of them in. You could even switch out some of these rice beads in place of the cathedral beads inside. And I'm saying rice beads, but I mean whatever bead you're using. You don't have to use these beads. Obviously, use whatever you have. Whatever you like, whatever works. So what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just thinking this is actually a start of what could be a good discussion in gem checks. I'm very curious what people's approaches to those who are currently running jewelry businesses are to metals and whatnot. Judy was just commenting that she includes care instructions in each piece she sends out, just so the customer has that information. I think it's absolutely a great idea.
I definitely meant to send out care instructions, and then I never do, but I also oxidize it. So, correct. But yeah, care instructions are important. I had a necklace that I got and it was a stamped pendant, and I totally forgot I was wearing it, and I sprayed, and the stamp was like filled in with it was probably liver sulfur. I totally forgot I was wearing it. I sprayed my chest with sunscreen, and I totally messed up the letters. So yeah, care instructions are not a bad idea. So at this point, like I said, you could add lengths, you could add a clasp. We're going to move on to the earrings. So for the earrings, we're going to use the infinity loops again that we've already made. Again, I'll show these at the end, just so that we get through this. Oh, I like that. Avoid the 5 S's. No sleeping, swimming, sweating, showering, and spraying a perfume. Sweating.
It's like,
it's
what?
so hot out. How are you supposed to avoid that? Okay, so at this point, you have an option for the dangles. You can use a ball head pin if you have them, or just a regular head pin, or I like to do this a lot, especially when I'm using a ton of dangles and I don't have a ton of ball head pins left. You just take your pliers. I like to use the chain nose pliers with the rounded tops, and I just kind of like flip up the end and then crush it. And then it's like a little loop, and it will keep the bead from falling off, which is the ultimate goal in any kind of head pin. So it's just a little loop. And that's what I've done here. Let's see. People are asking about me. I do not have a YouTube channel right now, or Facebook. I have a Facebook page for my jewelry. It's called Mallis Jewelry, and I also sell my jewelry in a group called Rainbow Gems Gift Shop here on Facebook. I do probably need to make my own YouTube channel. I've been making jewelry for 18 years actually, and
Wow.
I know. I never really did much online until the last year. I never really taught classes or anything until you said something about it. I've taught sewing classes before, not online, but like in person. And I'm just like all around crafty. I've showed people how to do lots of different art projects in person though, never online. So I have really been thinking lately about trying to get more of an online presence, and then I can quit my job that I hate, and that would be so amazing. I hate it so much.
This could be just the beginning, Rachel.
I know.
But in the meantime, since Rachel does not yet have a YouTube channel, you can check out like probably over 20 classes she's taught on the Sam's Bead Shop YouTube channel. We have them all archived there. So you can check out.
I taught a bunch of classes with Sam. Yeah.
So there's lots of Rachel projects. We've done double drills. We've done sea glass. What other else have we done?
we did a bunch of art deco. We've done a bunch of little tiny beads that I love. Itty bitty beads. And what else have we done? We've done a lot. Primarily wire work with me, also on the Sam's Bead Shop YouTube page, is he did a class with Lynn Beaumont on stringing, which is actually where I learned stringing. So I thought that was so cool. And then also with Danielle Wicks on knotting, which I learned a lot from. So in the last year, I've really branched out my techniques to the point where like I started making Mallis.
Yes.
I know, I've got to make more.
Okay, I was distracting you. So let us know what are you working on for the earrings here?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. So I'm just making 4 of those loops. I literally just showed you where I just bent over the end, crushed it, and then so you could do this with the head pin again. So I'm just making these little dangles.
Oh, were you still crushing it? I was somehow missed all of that.
Yes.
I must have been reading comments.
You missed me go and crush it.
What? Dang it. Wait, do it again.
So I'm using my chain nose pliers with the rounded tops, and you just take it on a piece of wire that you've cut to where it's flat on the end. I'm sure if it wasn't flat on the end, it would also work, but I prefer to do it this way. And you just grab it on the end, and then you kind of flip it up like this. So it's around the pliers, and then you crush it, and then it makes a little loop. You could also make, you know, like the spiral loops. I know a lot. I used to do a lot of those. Where you could probably start it here, but it works better with the what's it called? The nylon jaw pliers are better for these because you damage the wire less. But you could totally make like a spiral head pin. I also really like you would have to use probably a smaller gauge for this if you were doing that, and then double wrap them, which would be a lot of extra work. But I also really like those knotted head pins that I learned
from Sarah.
Sarah did. Yeah, I've used them on a couple of designs. I think they're interesting. But so you could also make like your own little spiral head pin. I actually kind of love that. I used all my beads. I gotta get another one, except for this project, I had exactly enough of this color of cathedral to make this.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Oh, because it's 3 per earring and you have 6 left. Wow.
Yeah. So that would be really cute too.
I used to make a lot of those spirals for earrings. I like them.
So I'm just gonna take these. And
if you have any more simple loops coming up, which I think you do.
Yeah, we do. We got to do the rice beads.
Yeah, Prudence is hoping you could show us your simple loop technique.
Oh, it's
so beautiful.
It's just the normal one, but I would be more than happy to show it. I have been doing these for so many years that can totally just eyeball it. But if you are not used to doing that, I would probably recommend measuring them so you get used to it. I have a very good eye for space, if that makes sense. Like I know what things are going to fit in a certain amount of space when I'm driving. So
I never do.
Yeah, I could sit and get in a car I've never been in before and could fit it in like the tiniest gap.
I started driving a new car and it's definitely longer because I've hit 2 curbs now in a brand new car. Like I'm making a turn. I was like, crap.
Okay, so for my simple loops, I'm gonna go ahead and this is probably about 3/8 of an inch bend down. So I've got my little. You can do this with the pliers that are flat nose, and not these ones, but the ones that have the flat tops. And get like a tighter bend, but I'm fine with this bend. I've always used it. So and then I'm gonna come in with my pliers and I'm gonna grab. This was a game changer when I told it to Sam, but I'm going to grab my wire in between them, but the wire should not be poking out. So it can be, if you run your finger on here, you should not be able to feel the wire. It should not be poking
don't
out.
Poke that wire.
Yeah. And then I'm going to bend it back towards me, and then I'm going to flip my wrist and bring my loop around. And that's how you do them. And then I'm going to come in and put my bead on here. And then I'm just going to bend it down like that. I'll come back in with my flush cutters. Cut it. Like I said, if you're not used to making these, maybe measure them. Or you could even just like draw on your pliers, like the exact where you want it to be, and then cut it off. Because that's one key in getting consistent loops is not only using the same pliers and making sure you're kind of like doing them on the same part, but getting the length of them pretty much the same.
I'm so glad you found a use for the like a really good use for the rice beads, because I put those in the box just as like a new shape to play with.
They're so pretty.
And it's actually, I'm seeing that there's a lot of potential in having that longer shape to mix in, because it allowed you to have the geometry, for example, in this piece that you wouldn't.
Yeah, I was looking for something, and I had just decided when I was making this design, I was like, because gonna use the bead box, number one, because it's right here. And number two, because I mean I should use the bead box. And I loved the like blue ice color you had going throughout it. So I thought it'd be really fun with the copper. But yeah, these were the perfect shape for this kind of thing. And this shape in general is like really great for earrings. If you had a bunch of dangles, this is a perfect shape for that kind of thing to give some variation.
Yeah, I like that.
So I've got my bend again, and I'm just gonna, again, don't let it poke out through. If it pokes out through, you're not gonna get as good of a loop. But obviously you want to make sure you can see it through here, so that tells you that you've got a good grip on it. Because if you don't, then your pliers will slide off the edge, and I'm sure you've all experienced like just messing up the edge of your wire. So you want to make sure you have a good grip on it, but that it's not poking out through the edge. Here's the loop. Bend again. Cut.
Rachel, we always talk about movies eventually in our classes, so I have to tell you, I watched The Notebook again this week.
I've never seen it.
No!
I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh. This is my second time. I don't know. I was in a mood. I was like, oh, dang, I'm in a crying mood right now because I was tearing up from Modern Family. So I turned on I bought The Notebook. Now I own it. I can watch it however many times I want. Just like Harry Potter, Hairspray, and the Try Guys documentary. And
the Try Guys documentary, I didn't know they made a documentary.
It's great. I love it.
I like the Try Guys. I haven't watched them in a while, but I like them. I was listening to their podcast for a while when I took the trains in the morning and wasn't lazy.
Yeah, I listened to their podcasts too. Very into the Try world. Anyway, The Notebook. It got me even more than the first time. I could not stop sobbing for about 20 minutes at the end of that movie.
I feel like there's enough for me to just cry about in general. I don't need to cry from the movie.
Yeah, but it's like a good cry.
Is it? Does she like die? Can you spoil it for me? I don't know what happens.
I ain't spoiled anything. Also, Judy's yelling at you to watch it in the comments, so now you have to watch it because
I'm gonna read it on Wikipedia and then I'll decide if I'm gonna watch.
No.
That's what I do with horror movies. I really want to know what happens in this movie, but I don't want to watch it, so I'm gonna just read this.
No, the last bit of the movie is the part you literally should not spoil for yourself. It all builds to the end. It's the great love story, and it builds to the end, Rachel.
You know what love story I love? I love The Holiday. That's a great movie.
I have not seen this.
That's a great movie. It's got Cameron Diaz. It's got Jude Law, Jack Black, and
I love Jack
Black. The girl from Titanic, I think. I don't remember what her name is.
Is it actually good, or is this like what a Rachel?
No, it's so good. It's so good.
Sometimes I feel like you like really random movies. You're like, you should watch this.
I love terrible movies. I love terrible rom-coms. I love all of the Christmas movies. I love them all. You know, the more horrible, the better.
Already earrings. How are earrings?
So I've looped these on here already, and then we're gonna attach our little rice beads. So we're just gonna kind of assemble them like we did with the bracelet. I keep wanting to say necklace. Okay, and then I'm gonna come in with my other cathedral bead. So you could probably hook these to the ear wire if you wanted to hook them directly to the ear wire, but I wanted to have a little bit more length. I'm a long Indian gal. I've got long hair. And the first one, you just want to make sure like the loops on your rice beads are going the same way, otherwise it's going to get all twisted. All right, so I have it like this. And you could definitely, I think this would be so pretty with more beads dangling down. It'd even be pretty, I think, if you had the rice beads right in between. That would be, we could try that out. That would be so pretty.
What's your idea?
Well, I'm going to show you.
Spoil it now.
Well, obviously. Also, I just ran out of 20 gauge sterling silver wire, so I knew it was going to be close, and I had just enough. With that being said, we're only going to make one earring. And then I'm going to show the infinity loop again. So, there we go. I'm going to connect my ear wire too. Come on, buddy. You can do it. There we go. Sometimes I make my loops like really close to the top of the beads. You gotta like convince the bead that they do want the loop to open. Ta-da! Oh, well, it looks a little wonky because I added that extra bead, but see?
Wait,
That's what I was talking about, adding the rice bead here.
Oh, so you would add one to both, or you want it asymmetrical?
Or no, I would add one to both. I love asymmetry, not so much in this case.
Actually, yeah, I think I like the length that second rice bead adds. That's really pretty.
So, yeah.
And with that, Rachel and I have significantly gone over time because.
Yeah. Do you want me to show the infinity link again, or we just want to be like?
Yeah. Do you want to show?
We can go back to the beginning. Yeah, I'll show it one more time. Okay. So you need 18 gauge wire, and I like to use a long piece. I think it gives you more control over the wire. Also, in answer to Wanda, Sam may have been watching movies, but I have binge watched 2 seasons of Cold Case Files, and my friend and I are ready to help them at any time. So I've got my 18 gauge wires, soft wire, and I've got my round nose pliers, and I'm just coming to where the edge of the wire is along the edge of the or the top of the plier. Come around to make the loop. Oops. There we go. Then we got the P shape facing away from me. I'm going to bring the wire up and around. Come in with these pliers. And just wrap it around a couple times. And then we're going to clip the wire and tuck it.
How much do you and Judy talk about wire? Because you are both very talented wire working people. But
I don't feel like we talk about wire that much, actually.
I love that.
We just talk about other random stuff. But yeah, so there's that. Here's the bracelet. And we do the infinity links way more in the beginning of the class. So you can like probably like 2 minutes after we finish the live, it's going to be posted to the Facebook page for rewatching and the
YouTube channel.
YouTube page. Yeah.
And
YouTube channel, sorry.
If you make this project, we want to see, so post it in the Gem Chat group, which I'll put a link to in the comments right now.
Or if you made anything else while we were in this, or just anything in general, post it to the Gem Chat group. Anything bead related in general.
It doesn't. I mean, it could be like it could be like partially bead related. We also just want to get to know each other. So if you want to share something there that seems relevant, go on and share in Gem Chat. We want to get to know each other more there. So with that, Rachel and I are signing off. It is 9:20 for you, Rachel. My God.
Yes, it is.
Thanks for staying in for us. And I hope you have a lovely weekend, Rachel.
Yes, you too. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel, and thanks for everyone for joining. Bye-bye.